complicated. USB, often imitated. Can't do it like me, never duplicated. This is USB. Can't do it like me, no you're not like me, often imitated. This is USB. Can't do it like me, no you're not like me, never.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to USB. It's been a minute. Thank you for joining me here today. This is Unaffiliated Sports Broadcast, your home for Tooele County sports. At least I hope that it is. Hey, listen, I understand we had a bit of a hiatus, right? Yeah, I could definitely get into that, but we're not going to. We're not going to get into that at all. Nonetheless, we are back. We've got a lot to cover. We missed a lot of the latter half of the football season. We never really got quite finished up with the women's soccer, and unfortunately, we also didn't really get caught up with the women's volleyball. So we got a lot of fall stuff to recap here. I'm super excited to do it. I hope you've been paying attention to the Instagram stuff. We got a lot of plans coming up for this basketball season. I'm super excited for it. So without further ado, let's just kind of get into it, shall we? So again, this is Unaffiliated Sports Broadcast. Okay, this is where we cover Tooele County High School sports. I've kind of branched out. I've started covering a few more things. I really look like a weirdo with this thing on my head, but the kids kind of got it right with these gaming headsets. They work out pretty well for this kind of stuff, especially. So bear with me, all right? And I'm trying out some different things because it's all going to tie into some of the stuff we got planned here in the future. So let's get into it, though, a little bit. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start with football. Real fast, though, I just want to. Yeah, cool. All right. I just wanted to make sure that our live stream was actually working. Um, it's always a fear of mine. I've had some technical difficulties when doing interviews, and now it's always a fear of mine. So nonetheless, we're going to start off with football. Okay. Two reasons. One, we cover a lot more of that here. It's definitely something I know more about than, say, soccer or volleyball. And it's also what we were at a majority of the time. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna start off with some football. And before we took our hiatus, kind of had this rule of thumb. It wasn't necessarily a given, but it was a rule of thumb that we just kind of covered the team that did the best first, and then kind of worked down. And we're gonna kind of continue with that. So we're gonna start off with Stansbury. Now, Stansbury had a really good season this year. They went 9-3 overall on the record. They were 5-2 in region, putting them in second place for their region. So great job to them. They had 382 total points according to Max Preps. They had 3,175 passing yards, 43 passing touchdowns, which if I'm not mistaken, is some kind of a record for their school there. So great job to that offense. Great job to that quarterback. They had 13 interceptions on the season, so not bad. 43 to 13 touchdown to interception ratio is pretty dang good if you ask me. 1,524 rushing yards, so they definitely did that thing on the ground as well. They tallied up 18 rushing touchdowns. Again, this is all according to Max Preps, okay? So if any of this is accurate or inaccurate, excuse me, I do apologize. 4,699 total yards for our Stansbury Stallions. What a season for them on the offensive side of the ball in particular. Defensively, they didn't do too bad either. They had 860 total tackles. They ended the season with 25 sacks as a whole for the team, 14 interceptions, 10 fumble recoveries. So again, great job. Hats off to our Stansbury Stallions for a great season that they had so far. Some of their offensive leaders, for passing, they had number 3, Brighton Reitzel, the junior. He was 200 of 323. So it's about 62%, roughly 61.9, I guess, if you want to be accurate. And again, this is according to Max Preps. Okay, so some other parent has some more stats or something. And I no, that's wrong. Well, report it to Max Preps. And 116.6 was his QBR for the season. So great job to that young man. What a season he had. He had 41 touchdowns and only 12 interceptions. He had 144 carries for 308 yards on the ground, and also tallied 8 rushing touchdowns. So what a season for that young man. Absolutely wild. Sorry, guys. All right, that should be fixed. Crazy. I'm trying out some different stuff. I'm not sure how it all works all the time, okay? But what a season. seriously, for the junior Brighton Reitzel, we got the opportunity to interview him earlier on in the season, and I got to admit, it was a pleasure getting to talk to that young man. He's a very bright young man, and I think he's going to have a very good future. Rushing on the ground for the Stallions, 24 Carter Peterson, the senior, he had 144 carries for a total of 965 yards. Great job to that young man. He finished with 8 touchdowns on the season. Receiving, my man Lael Russ Sr., another individual that we had the luxury to be able to interview. Super excited to see that he had a fantastic and stellar season. He ended the season with 72 receptions and a whopping 1,117 receiving yards, 16 touchdowns. So hats off to you, young man. Way to get that season that you were looking for, because I know when we talked to you, that was a big thing that you were looking for. So congratulations to you, young man. All-purpose yards, you had number 2, Boston Riley. He led the team. He's a junior. He had 780 receptions. Or 780 yards receiving, 150 kick return yards, and 304 punt return yards. He also had 8 interception return yards for a grand total of 1,242 all-purpose yards. So congratulations to you, young man, on a stellar season for yourself there. Now, your defensive leaders. Your leader in total tackles was the senior, number 34, Wyatt Oliver. He ended the season with 74 total tackles. Congratulations to that young man. I don't know if he remembers, but I do know who you are, sir. And it's been awesome to see that you've been able to continue to grow and improve. So congratulations to you, young man. Your tackles for loss leader for the Stansbury Stallions, number 13, Noah Cyphus, the senior. He had 19 and a half tackles for loss. Good job, sir. He also led the team in sacks with 11. Your interceptions leader was number 14, Colton Danes, the senior. He had 6 interceptions on the season, so good job to him. Again, all these stats come from Max Reps, okay? So if there is any conflict or anything like that, let me know. But as far as I know, there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be. So, doing too much here. All right, fumble recoveries. You had number 1, Colt Tincher, the senior. He ended the season with 5 fumble recoveries. So good job to you, sir. Way to be on the lookout for that ball. Again, a really good season for Stansbury. Another one because the year before they didn't do too bad either. They ended up losing in the second round of the playoffs to Crimson Cliffs with a score of 35-14. But seriously, congratulations to that team. What a season you guys had. Hats off to you guys. I'll take it off, but then I ripped my headset off. So, but seriously, great job, guys. Super glad you were able to achieve some of those goals that you talked about. Super exciting. Great job to you guys, honestly. We're going to move on to Grantsville. Grantsville is our second best overall record. Tooele County in terms of overall season. I'm going to take some water. I haven't done this in a while. And yeah, so I'm a little out of whack right now. All right, so continuing on with Grantsville. Now, Grantsville had a record of 7-5 overall. They were 4-1 in region, placing them in second place for the region. They had 267 total points, and that was my calculations because Max Preps wasn't entirely adding. They said they had, I can't remember exactly the numbers right now, but they said that X of touchdowns, and then it didn't match up with the 3 points or whatever that it listed. So I did a little bit rough math. All right, so that could be a little bit off. I don't claim to be a scholar, okay? But 267 points, 1,812 passing yards listed for the Cowboys. They had 16 passing touchdowns, 10 passing interceptions, 1,407 total rushing yards. You know what? I think we're getting a little bit of lag here, and I don't like that. So, all right, we'll try to clean it up a little bit. Let me double check this live stream just real fast. Bear with me, okay? Yeah, this isn't turning out very well at all. So this is why I don't do video. It's never worked out well for me. So let's just do this. Let's do away with our window capture. And we're just going to strictly do the microphone, I think. I think that's what we'll do. We'll just do the microphone. Because I tend to talk a little fast. So we're going to do away with that. It's going to look a little bit funny, but that's okay. All right, no more video of me. I'll get that figured out for the next one for sure. But right now, I think we'll just go ahead and we'll do away with it. All right, sounds a little bit better on the live stream, so we're just going to go ahead and we're going to keep rolling. Sorry, guys. Again, haven't done this in a while. All right, so just kind of getting my bearings. Let's go over those stats again for Grantsville, since we got a little caught up there. 7-5 overall record for the Grantsville Cowboys. 4-1 in region, placing them in second place in the region. We had 267 total points. Again, that was my calculations because it just wasn't really adding up on the system that they had. They had 1,812 passing yards according to Max Preps, 16 passing touchdowns, 10 passing interceptions, 1,407 rushing yards, 22 rushing touchdowns, 3,219 total yards, 601 total tackles, 16 sacks, 13 interceptions, 9 fumble recoveries. So again, I don't want to say what a season for them, because in some ways it was probably a little less than the year before. But I do have to give them credit, because they came out and they initially started the season. They were really kind of up and down, right? They had their moments of, like, you saw these glimpses of things, and then the next game they just would come out a little bit flat, and then we'd be back the next game, and they really kind of fine-tuned that and got a little bit better there. So hats off to them for sure for being able to do that. Kind of work through some of those, because it's been the theme of this entire season, right? Every team had major coaching changes. Every team kind of had to battle through some things. So I think there was a lot of potential, like, expectations that I think people might have had that weren't necessarily gonna pan out. You know what I mean? So hats off to them for being able to fight through that. Again, not a bad season. Go 7-5. That's, 2 games above, or 1 game above, right there, 500. Whatever, you know what I mean? 7-5. And 400, really good season. Let's see over some of their offensive leaders. Now in passing, you had number 1 Dallin Van Fleet, the junior. He was 131 for 234. He was about 56% on the season with a QBR of 82.6. He threw for 1,699 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, 68 carries for 316 yards, and 8 touchdowns on the ground. And that was definitely an element. Oh my gosh, this live stream sounds terrible. All right. This is a reboot. This is a reboot. So let's, holy cow, we're just gonna, whoever's running in the background on this is killing me. It's killing me here. I'm glad this is live though, It's definitely don't want to have issues when you're not live, right? Should always be when you're live, so that it really just jacks up everything you're trying to do. All right, let's see if that helps. We'll drop down some of this added stuff that it was doing, and see if that kind of cleans it up a little bit. My goodness, I haven't had problems like this in a while. All right, I think that's a little bit better. if anybody's in the chat, please let me know if it's any better. Crazy. I'm super sorry about that. So you know what? I don't even know if the Stansberry stuff really came through all that well. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that it didn't. That's what I'm gonna say. So we're gonna restart this. I'm gonna restart this whole thing. Why? Because I can. And is that probably good for, you know, viewership and fans? I don't know. But we're gonna restart this whole thing.
Can't do it like me, no you're not like me, often imitated. This is USB. Can't do it like me, no you're not like me, never duplicated. This is USB, often imitated. USB, never duplicated. USB, often imitated. Can't do it like me, never duplicated. This is USB. Can't do it like me, no you're not like me, often imitated. This is USB. Can't do it like me, no you're not like me, never.
Okay. All right, this is round 2. Had some technical difficulties, excuse me. Didn't like the choppiness. Didn't like the choppiness at all. So we're gonna restart this whole thing. We're gonna get right back into it here. Thank you for listening to USB Unaffiliated Sports Broadcast. This is your home, hopefully, for Tooele County High School sports. We cover Grantsville, Tooele, Stansberry, and the newly added Deseret Peak as much as we can. We try to highlight the players, the programs as much as we can, and give shout outs for the things that we see. We try to attend as many games as possible. It's been a minute since I've been able to get on here. I do apologize for that. Life is life. So here we are. Nonetheless, here we go. This is round 2 because the first one you couldn't hear a dang thing. I think I was trying to do too much. I'm gonna have to figure that out for the future. But we got some big things coming up. Big things for basketball that we're hoping to be able to do. And with that, I'm sure you guys have been paying attention. We're going to be adding a new co-host. So I'm super excited for that. I think you guys are going to like it. At least I hope that you are. Maybe some of you won't. But at the same time, I guess that's kind of the way it all goes. Some people like things and some people just really don't. So nonetheless, here we go. So we're going to do our fall recap right now. Again, I had a whole graphic thing, but I think it was maybe just a little bit too much and it was kind of bogging down the system and you couldn't hear the audio. So we'll just kind of do away with that for right now until I could figure out some of that. Maybe it's something I was doing. I don't really know. But we're going to do our fall recap because we kind of left the football coverage on a high note, right? Kind of towards the peak of the season there when things started to really matter. And we didn't really get a lot of coverage for the end of soccer nor the end of volleyball. And so I want to make sure that we get back and we highlight the amazing things that these teams did, these athletes, because they put in a lot of work and they deserve some recognition. And I know their schools give it to them, but I'm hoping this can reach the broader sense, the broader spectrum of it. So we're going to go ahead and start off with football, okay? Just mainly because, one, it's the freshest thing in my mind, okay? And it's obviously something that we've covered here a little bit more. Just because I'm definitely more familiar with it. Okay, so we're going to start with football. And before we took our little hiatus, we kind of had this thing where we would kind of cover the team that was doing the best within the county, right? And so we're going to kind of stick with that. And so we're going to start off with the Stansberry Stallions. Now, the Stansberry Stallions had a really good season. They went 9-3 overall for their record, 5-2 in region, placing them in second place. They had 382 total points, 3,175 yards on offense, 43 passing touchdowns, and 13 interceptions. So not a bad touchdown to interception ratio in my opinion there. They also had 1,524 rushing yards and 18 touchdowns on the ground. So again, really good offensive performance from that Stansberry Stallions team. Heck of a season for them. I think they set some records for the school. Really good job by those guys. So hats off to you guys and congratulations, seriously. Yeah, no, seriously, what a great season you guys had. Defensively, they didn't do too bad either. They had 860 total tackles. They finished the season with 25 sacks, 14 interceptions, and 10 fumble recoveries. Um, yeah, can't be mad about that, right? Can't be mad about that. So again, statistically speaking, what a great season that the Stansbury Stallions had. We'll kind of get into where they left off, but some of your offensive leaders in passing, you had number 3, Brighton Reitzel, the junior. He was 200 for 323, so about 62%, 61.9 if you want to be accurate, I guess. 116.6 QBR. What a season for that young man. Seriously. 41 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 144 carries for 308 yards, 8 rushing touchdowns. Seriously, phenomenal season for that young man. And I'm super glad that he was able to have a good season like that, because when we got the chance to interview him, it was a pleasure to get to know him. He's a very bright young man. I think the future is going to be very, very big for that young man, and can't wait to see what he does. But he's tearing it up right now. Again, phenomenal year for that young man. Congratulations, sir. On the ground, they had the running back number 24, Carter Peterson, a senior. He would finish the season with 144 carries for 965 yards and 8 touchdowns. Congratulations to you, sir. Again, all these stats come from Max Preps, okay? So if they are inaccurate, I do apologize. So if there's a parent out there that was taking their own stats and they're like, no. Hey, I guess get it to Max Preps, because I can only go off what they get. So that's what was posted. So congratulations to those guys. If it's wrong by any means, let me know. I'll correct it. It's fine. In the receiving category, the Stallions were led by wide receiver number 4, Lael Rhodes, a senior. My man, Lael Rhodes, super proud of that young man. When we got a chance to talk to him, he really wanted to have a big season, and he definitely did. He ended the season with 72 receptions, 1,117 yards receiving, and 16 touchdowns. So congratulations to you, Lael. Super happy for you, man. What a season that was for that young man. In terms of all-purpose yards, number 2, Boston Rowley, a junior. He led the team in all-purpose yards with 780 receiving yards, 150 kick return yards, 304 punt return yards, 8 interception return yards, for a grand total of 1,242. So congratulations to you, sir, on a job well done. Those are your offensive leaders for the Stansbury Stallions. Again, phenomenal showing by that Stansbury Stallions team this year. Congratulations. Your defensive leaders, in terms of total tackles, you had number 34, Wyatt Oliver, the senior. He had 74 total tackles on the season, leading his team, and super happy for him, because I don't know if he remembers, but we definitely know who he is. Got the luxury to know him when he was very young, and super excited to see that he was doing big things. Super excited. So congratulations to you, sir. Your tackles for loss leaders for the Stansbury Stallions defense was number 13, Noah Cephas, a senior. He had 19.5 tackles for loss. He also led the team in sacks with 11 sacks on the season. So what a job by that young man. Congratulations, sir. Way to put in that work and ended up on those stat lines, because that doesn't come easy. You know what I mean? That doesn't come easy. So congratulations to you, sir. Now, in terms of interceptions, you had number 14, Colton Danes, also a senior. He had 6 interceptions on the season. Good job to you, sir. Fumble recoveries was number 1, Cole Tincher, a senior. He had 5 fumble recoveries. So way to be on the lookout for that ball and get it back for your offense to go out and do some of the amazing work that they did. Now, again, Stansbury had a really good season. Okay, 9-3. You can't be mad about that season at all. They did end up obviously making it to the playoffs, but they lost in the second round of the playoffs to Crimson Cliffs, 35-14. Now, obviously, that's tough, right? You do all those things. I'm sure your sights were set on gold, right? But nonetheless, great job. You have nothing to be upset about. Yeah, sure, you didn't get to where you were hoping, but you have nothing to be upset about. That's a fantastic season for these Stansbury Stallions. So congratulations to them. Good luck to all the seniors in whatever you decide to do moving forward. And I can't wait to see what the next man up does. It's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. So good job, Stansbury. 9-3, can't be mad. Congratulations. Sticking with the theme of overall records, we're going to move on to Grantsville. Now, the Grantsville Cowboys had a 7-5 overall record, so a little bit lower than the previous year, but still not too bad there. 7-5 is a pretty decent record. They went 4-1 in region, so good region play for them. They ended up second in their region. Now, Max Preps had a little bit of their stuff kind of messed up, so some of this might be a little off. But if my calculations are right, which I'm definitely not saying that they are, okay? If my calculations are right, they ended the season with 267 total points, 1,812 passing yards, 16 passing touchdowns, 10 passing interceptions, 1,407 rushing yards for 22 rushing touchdowns for a grand total of 3,219 total offensive yards. So definitely not a terrible showing by our Grantsville Cowboys. I think the passing category was a little bit lower than they would have liked going in, at least based off the interviews that we did with Jackson Jensen, the receiver, and Dallin Van Vliet, the quarterback. But I think from the rushing standpoint, I think they're pretty happy with that. That's a pretty good season on the ground there. So good job to those guys. They kind of struggled a little bit in the early stages, kind of up and down. They had a really great game followed by some stagnant games right out, because I'm not going to say bad, just stagnant. And they really kind of got that figured out in the latter part of the season. So good job to them. Offensively, again, not a bad season, 3,219 total yards. As far as defense is concerned, the Cowboys ended with 601 total tackles. They had 16 sacks on the season, 13 interceptions, 9 fumble recoveries. So great job to them. Really keeping that on that ball and giving their offense opportunities. Now, in terms of your offensive leaders, for passing, you had the junior quarterback, Dallin Van Vliet, number 1. He was 131 for 234 on the season for about 56% overall, and he had a QBR of 82.6. He threw for 1,699 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. He also had 68 carries for 316 yards and 8 touchdowns. Now, that's an element of his game that I was excited to see kind of get back. I think not last year, so he's a junior right now, so his freshman year, I think that was a huge element of his game that gave him a lot of success. And he's kind of a big dude, so it was good to kind of see that aspect of his game kind of come back. So I hope he's super proud of himself. And, obviously the passing game kind of struggled a little bit at times, but that rushing aspect that he kind of brought back, I hope that he's proud of himself for that. Keeping on with rushing, your rushing leader for the Cowboys was number 26, Rigdon Murdoch, a senior. He had 163 carries for 786 yards and 10 touchdowns. Got the chance to talk to that young man early on in the season. He definitely had some big goals for himself, and I think he had a really good season. 786 yards, not bad there, not bad. 10 touchdowns, so good job to you, sir. He also had he also did well in the receiving category, which we'll get to in just a second, because he was also the team's all-purpose leader, but we'll get to that in a second. Receiving, you had number 5, Jackson Jensen, the senior. He led the team with 40 receptions, 603 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Also had the opportunity to talk to that young man. I know his aspirations were high, and he didn't quite hit the goal he was looking for, but no fault of his own. I think it's just a change in the game plan that they had coming into this year, made that a little bit difficult, but he ended up having a great season, leading the team, 40 receptions, 603 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So good job to that young man. And as I kind of alluded to a little bit, our all-purpose yards leader for the Cowboys was number 26, Rigdon Murdoch. He had 786 rushing yards. He also had 126 receiving yards for a grand total of 912 all-purpose yards. So good job to that offensive section for the Grantsville Cowboys. Your defensive leaders for total tackles, you had number 87, Porter Davis, the senior. He had 63 total tackles. He also led the team in tackles for loss with 9. And he also led the team in sacks, according to Max Preps, with 5 sacks on the season. Now, I got to be real. I don't know if that's accurate or not, because towards the latter part of the year, they really had some other players stepping up and getting some sacks. So I'm not saying that stat was wrong by any means. I'm just saying that it could be really close. I think for a lot of players, that defense really stepped up second half, and a lot more people started tallying, especially tackles for loss and things like that. So I know that they had some stat issues early on, but that's just what's listed right now. So Porter Davis leads in 3 categories: total tackles, tackles for loss, and sacks. So good job to that young man, because he's phenomenal anyways. He's an awesome player, man. He's an awesome player. So it's very possible that there's no error. So good job to you, sir. In terms of interceptions, your interception leader for the Cowboys was number 8, Jordan Fossen, a senior. He had 4 interceptions listed on the season. Fumble recoveries, number 14, Easton Hammond, a senior, and number 35, Jake Chittister, a senior. Each recovered 2 fumbles. So since it was a tie there, I decided they should probably both get the shout out. So here we are, and we are continuing on. Now, Grantsville, like I said, they did really well. They did really well, and they lost in the second round of playoffs to Juab with a score of 26-20, which got to give my credit to those guys on that, because that looked like Juab was going to run away with it. Grantsville dug in deep, and they got themselves right back into it. Juab receiver made a heck of a catch. I mean, it was just a phenomenal catch by the receiver. Defense was in the right place. Defense was doing what they were supposed to. The young man just made a great catch, and he happened to be like the fastest person in the entire arena, so that didn't help any either. And then Grantsville had a chance. You know, they were coming back. They were making something of it, and you know, it just is what it is. Juab's defense made a play, and that was the game. So hats off to them. Way to dig in deep. Congratulations on a good season. 7-5, can't be mad about that, right? So good job, young men. Keep your heads up for the seniors. It's been a pleasure getting to see you guys grow and see the things that you guys have done to improve your games. And I know I'll see some more of you once we start basketball. But for the ones that I don't see, congratulations. And I hope that you are able to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve in life. So go for it, man. Go for it. As for Tooele football ended their season with a 2-9 overall record, 1-6 in region for 7th place. So definitely a tough season for the Tooele Buffaloes. We got the chance to talk to a couple of their players and their head coach. Definitely not the season that they were looking for, right? But I think that there's a lot that they can look forward to in the future to build upon. I think the changes were probably a big part of that, on top of, like, obviously some personnel things, because Tooele the year before was an extremely heavy rush. They had some great runners, and they lost a lot of them to graduation, and so you change the game plan, you lose some of those guys. I think it's kind of understood and expected personally, but I know for the players and the team, obviously not what they were looking for. But I do think, just looking at when I was compiling these stats to do this show, I do think that they have a lot that they can keep their heads high about as they move into next year, right? So they had 187 total points. They had 1,583 passing yards according to Max Preps. They had 16 passing touchdowns and 10 interceptions. 1,102 rushing yards. So again, not a terrible season stat-wise in that regard, right? And 10 rushing touchdowns for a grand total of 2,685 total yards. Now, the thing that stood out to me the most on this was the passing yards, because again, the year prior, they were extremely run heavy. They didn't throw the ball very much, if hardly at all. So to see some progress in that, I think is very promising for them. And to see that they were still able to have a decent rushing attack. It was nothing like they had the year before. I'll give you that. It was nothing like that. But it was good to see that they still had a decent rushing attack that they can build upon as well. So I think moving forward for this offense, I think they've got a lot that they can keep their heads high about and kind of build on. Identify the mistakes, sure, of course, right? But I think they have a lot that they can be happy about and build upon. As for defense, the Buffaloes tallied 500 total tackles, 42 tackles for loss, 27 sacks. Great job in that category. 9 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries. So those are your team defensive stats. Let's get into some offensive leaders for the Buffaloes. Now, in the passing category, you had number 8, Gus Pater, the junior. At quarterback, he was 114 for 228, so about 50% with a QBR of 73.6. He had 1,411 yards passing for 14 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He also had 93 carries for 342 yards and 6 touchdowns. So again, I think in that category, just right there, just that's something that I think Tooele can be excited about moving forward. You know, because those stats compared to last year's stats for Pater, definitely an improvement, right? And so I think that's a promising thing that they can look forward to. He's a junior, so he should be back next year. You can continue to build upon that, right? So great job to that young man. I mean, you know, if you compare that to everything else, right, maybe it doesn't stand out. But I think if you compare that to what he was able to do last year, you know, obviously not his control there, right? But if you compare that to what he did last year to where he is right now, I think that's a heck of an improvement. And I hope that he's proud of himself. So in the rushing game, had a young man that, from my perspective, kind of came out of nowhere. I didn't know much about this young man. He's got a lot of potential, I think. Number 22, Kami Vianuku, a junior. He led the Buffaloes in rushing with 76 carries for 342 yards, 6 touchdowns. He also had 5 receptions for 93 yards and 3 touchdowns. So again, nothing shocking, but hey, listen, this young man kind of came out of nowhere, I think, and from my perspective. You know, obviously, like, the team knew who he was and all that, right? But from my perspective, viewership, he kind of came out of nowhere. So really, really excited to see what that young man does coming back next year. Assuming he comes back, obviously, but he'll be a senior next year. Definitely excited to see what that young man does. Your receiving leader for the Buffaloes was number 11, Maverick Clarkson, a senior. He had a great season. He had 68 receptions for 960 yards. 13 touchdowns. He also had 81 carries for 135 yards and 1 touchdown. Now, again, all these stats come off Max Preps, okay? So if any of this is inaccurate, I do apologize. In terms of all-purpose yards, Maverick Clarkson was also your leader in that category. He had 135 rushing yards, as we said, 960 receiving yards, 416 kick return yards, 64 punt return yards for a total of 1,575 yards. So great job to that young man. He was the previous year's USB Swiss Army Player of the Year because for his team, because he, just like you can see right there with his all-purpose stats, he does a little bit of everything, man, and that's a great player for that team, and I know they're going to be missing that young man come next season. So great job to you, sir. Congratulations on your high school career. You really are a heck of a player there, young man. Now, in terms of your defensive leaders, total tackles, you had number 22, Kami Vianuku, the junior. He had 53 total tackles. Tackles for loss, it was number 58, Luke Dixon, a senior. He had 11 tackles for loss. Your sack leader was a sophomore, Jaden Shinwa. For some reason, I didn't put his number down. I apologize, young man. He had 6 sacks on leaders, so great on the year. So good job to that young man, seriously. And being a sophomore, I think that gives that defense a lot to be excited for moving forward. He's got a few more years there to continue to build. So good job to you, sir. Interceptions, number 3, Caden Schutz. Shoots, I think is how you say it. It's a U, so I always want to but I think if I heard the announcers right, it's Shoots. So my apologies there, sir. His senior, number 3, he had 3 interceptions on the season for his team this year. Fumble recoveries, their defense was led by 2 players who each had 1 fumble recovery each. Number 33, Connor Shugart, a senior, and number 3, Caden Schutz, a senior. So congratulations to those stat leaders. Way to put in that work. Way to grind it out, and you guys did some really good things. Tooele ended up making the playoffs, but they would lose in the first round to Skyline, 53-22. Again, not the season that they were looking to have, but I think if you look at some of the things that they did really well at this year and improved upon, again, coaching changes, system changes, right? All those things play a factor. I think there's enough that they can be excited about to build upon moving forward. So keep your heads up. Can't wait to see what you guys do next year. And next man up, right? Next man up. So Can't wait to see what you guys do. Congratulations, Tooele, on a great season. Rough season maybe, but great nonetheless, I think, if you look at it in the right way. So to all the seniors that are heading out, same thing goes to you guys. I hope that you guys are able to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve in life. So best of luck to you guys. It's been a privilege of mine to be able to get to cover it and get to see what you guys do. So thank you for that, and best of luck in the future. Now for Deseret Peak. Let me get some water. Hold on. All right. Now for Deseret Peak football, tough season. Tough season. I mean, it's really the only way that you can describe it. But we'll get to why I think it's going to look a lot better. 0-10 overall record, 0-7 in region. According to the scores, they only put up 28 total points this year. They had 490 passing yards, 0 passing touchdowns, and 8 passing interceptions. They had 286 rushing yards, 3 rushing touchdowns, for a grand total of 776 total yards. Again, all this came from Max Prep, so if any of this is inaccurate, I do apologize, but I can only go off what they tell me. Defensively, I think they did pretty good. They had 347 total tackles, 20 tackles for loss, 7 sacks, 5 interceptions, and 5 fumble recoveries. Now, I say that with a grain of salt, right? Because obviously they let up a lot of points, right? A lot of teams put up a lot of points against them. So I do say that with a grain of salt. But I think if you look at that, you got 7 sacks in there, you got 5 interceptions, and 5 fumble recoveries. Right now, okay, let's assume that at least 2 of those were just the offense dropping it and defense got on it. But let's also assume that some of them were forced out by tackles, whatever the case is, right? I think there's something to build off of there. I really do. Yes, they let up points. But again, 5 interceptions, 7 sacks, 20 tackles for loss. Okay, I think there's some stuff there. So, was it the season, the Disney movie season that they were probably hoping that they were going to have? Absolutely not. Right? I think anybody who is mad about that actually should be mad at themselves, because there was a lot working against this team. And in my opinion, cohesion was probably their biggest problem. You had 3 different schools. Now Deseret Peak shows up, and all these kids that they go there, some of them transfer there because they want opportunities that they weren't going to get at their other schools, right? So the experience level was a little bit different, right? And then obviously the cohesion. You have a whole bunch of new staff members. Maybe some of the players are familiar with some of the coaches, but not all of them, right? And then on top of that, you also had the transfer thing, right? Where you had players who couldn't play for, what was it, like 5 or 6 games or something like that, right? So had a lot of things working against them. I don't think their problem was the seniors, the lack of seniors that a lot of the community kind of felt that it was. I really think it was probably more cohesion, because there's cohesion between the players and between the staff, right? And between the staff and the players and vice versa, right? So I think that all had to be built. There's a lot to go on there. So, and that's quite the adversity that these young men faced. If they use it the right way, it's going to be a hell of an influence moving forward if they use it the right way. So super excited. Offensive leaders, passing, number 7, Carter Stroyak, a junior. He was 34 for 128, so about 26%, 23.3 QBR. He had 328 yards passing, 0 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 82 carries for 125 yards. Now, and 1 touchdown, by the way, excuse me. Now, if I understand correctly, this young man, this was kind of his first time really doing this role. So I want to give him a big shout out and credit for doing something he maybe didn't want to do. That was probably the best thing for his team. Because if I understand correctly, that wasn't his bread and butter, playing quarterback. So I want to give him a shout out for real, because that takes a lot to be able to kind of to take that on. So yeah, did he have statistically a great season? No, but the team didn't, right? And so don't put that on yourself. There's a lot to be worked out there. I think you hang on to hey, you had 82 carries, 125 yards, and a touchdown, and that's something that you can add to it. So keep working on the other stuff, and I think it'll all pay off, man. I really do. So your rushing leader, number 4, Cody Jensen, a junior. He had 34 carries for 125 yards and 1 touchdown. Receiving category, your leader was number 5, Cruz Anderson, a junior. He had 14 receptions for 96 yards. He also led the team in all-purpose yards. He had 71 rushing yards, 96 receiving, as we just said, 52 kick return yards, and for a grand total of 219 yards. He was your all-purpose yards leader. Your defensive leaders, number 5, Cruz Anderson, again, leads the team in total tackles this year with 60 total tackles. Great job to that young man there. He also led the team in tackles for loss with 5. So that young man was everywhere. Sacks, you had number 4, Cody Jensen, a junior. He had 2.5 sacks on the season. He led the team in that category. And your interceptions leader, you guessed it, number 5, Cruz Anderson, a junior. He had 2 interceptions on the season. So, heck of a season for that young man in particular. But again, I think that defense, there's things to be excited about, you know. I think there's things to be excited about. And so I can't wait to see what they do. Your fumble recoveries leader, it was a 5-way tie on this team with 1 recovery each. You had number 2, Jackson Toth, a junior. Number 12, Yosmelkis Paredes. Man, my bad, dude. A sophomore. Number 15, David Madurwa, a sophomore as well. Number 36, Wyatt Rydalch, a junior. And number 20, Eli Overman, a sophomore. Each one of those young men that I butchered the names of each had a fumble recovery for their team. So Deseret Peak finished out their season with a loss to Stansbury, 56-6. Again, a no-win season for this team. A lot to build upon. But again, a lot working against them at the same time. So I do hope that they keep their heads high. I hope that they're able to learn from some of this stuff and kind of come back and let some of this maybe piss them off a little bit and light a fire under them, right? And come out and show that they're an entire different team. I think that would be really cool to see. So good luck to you guys moving into next season. Definitely not the Disney movie season that you wanted, but hey, way to dig in, way to fight, and way to keep grinding. That can be respected. So congratulations to them, and cannot wait to see what you guys do next year. Moving on to soccer now. Okay, so that wraps up our fall football coverage. We'll get some more water here. I got a minute. If you're just joining us on the live, thank you for being with us. This is our fall recap. I had a whole thing going, but it was really bogging down and chopping up the audio. So we started over. So hopefully it's a lot more clear. It was pretty rough. All right, moving on to soccer, women's soccer. This one is no particular order. It's just the way I took the notes, so bear with me. But Grantsville women's soccer, they finished with an overall record of 12-7. They went 6-2 in region, putting them in second place. They ended the season with 56 total goals, 50 assists, and 162 points. So great job to that team. Your goal leaders, number 3, Camry Allen, a sophomore. She ended the season with 25 goals. Had the opportunity to talk to that young lady early on in the season, and she told us that she wanted to improve upon her previous season's total, which was 20. And so we're happy to report that she did so with 25. So great job to you, young lady. Congratulations on a great season. The second leader in goals was number 12, Lindsay Wingsgard, a sophomore as well. She had 17 goals on the season. And in third place for goals, it was number 2, Lindsay Orton, a junior. She had 10 goals. So congratulations to those 3 ladies on a job well done. That's quite the achievement. Cannot be mad about that. So congratulations. The Grantsville ladies ended in the semifinals of postseason play, losing to Ogden 7-1. But I think that's a loss they can probably live with because Ogden would go on to win the state championship. So at least they lost to the team that won it all. And as much as that sucks, at least you didn't lose to somebody who just lost the next week, right? So congratulations to the Grantsville women's soccer team on a great season. Again, they went 12-7 overall. So good job to them. And a lot of young players for that team. So I think they're just going to continue to improve. Congratulations. Now moving on to Stansbury soccer. They had a really great season as well. They went 13-6 overall. 9-5 in region, placing them in 4th place. They had 49 total goals, 43 assists, 141 total points. Their goal leaders were number 19, Whitney Polson, a junior. She had 12 goals on the season. In second place, you had number 10, Emmeline Major, a senior, with 9 goals. And She also tied with number 6, Mikkel Proctor, a sophomore with 9 goals. So Stansbury gets a 4th one here with number 23, Olivia Sartori, a junior who had 8 goals. So good job to those young ladies on a great season. Stansbury ladies ended up finishing their season in the second round of the playoffs as well, losing a close one to Mountain something. I can't remember his viewer crest. Gosh dang it. I don't remember. But it was a tight game. They only ended up losing 1-0 there. So good job to those ladies. Heartbreak obviously, right, a little bit. But seriously, what a great season for those young ladies. 13-6 overall. Can't be mad about that. So good job. Best of luck to you ladies who are graduating. Best of luck to you moving forward. As for Tooele soccer went 5-14 overall this year. They were 3-11 in region, placing them in 7th place in their region. They had 34 total goals on the season, 26 assists, and 94 total points. Their goal leaders were number 13, Isabel Wilcox, a junior. She had 13 goals, and she tied with number 33, Macy Gustin, a senior, who also had 13 goals. So good job to those two young ladies, tying for that first stat line there. Number 6, Lahila Galley, a senior. She had 4 goals. And number 12, Stephanie Richens, a freshman, with 2 goals. So good job to them. Tooele was the only one that had goalkeeping stats. So we're going to go ahead and shout out the goalkeeper here, Mariah Lundgren, a senior. I think she had 2 numbers listed, 0 and 18, if I remember right. I wasn't sure which one it was, so I just didn't put one. But nonetheless, senior Mariah Lundgren, she had 96 saves. She had a save percentage of about 60%. So good job to that young lady, and good job to Tooele for actually getting some of those stats up there. Because again, they were the only ones who had goalkeeping stats up. So the Tooele ladies did make it to the postseason play. However, they lost in the first round, where they unfortunately lost to Jordan with a score of 4-0. So their season ended, but they did make the playoffs. Obviously probably not the season that they wanted to have, 5-14 overall, but hey, they did make the playoffs. They did some great things. So congratulations to them. I know we got the opportunity to speak with Macy Gustin earlier on in the season. So glad to see that she was able to reach that top of the stat lines there. And again, not the season that they wanted, I'm sure, but congratulations nonetheless. As for Deseret Peak, Deseret Peak women's soccer, they went 0-18 overall this year, 0-14 in region, placing them in 8th place. 9 goals based off of the schedule scores that I was able to tally up. So that could be a little wrong, because again, I never claimed to be a scholar, okay? But they didn't have any available stats up. So unfortunately, we cannot shout out any of their players. It's a growing program though, so hopefully moving forward, that's something they get a little bit better about, because we would love to be able to shout out some of their players, because I know they did good things. Yes, you go 0-18, but I know there was good things there, and that's what we try to do here. So the Deseret Peak ladies did not see postseason play, so unfortunately their season was just what it was, 0-18 overall, and again, no stats. So congratulations nonetheless though. Again, first year program, a lot to build through, a lot of cohesion things, I'm sure, just like with the football program. So good job to you. Hopefully you were able to learn some things that you guys will come back and be something to be, I don't know, anticipated. Yeah, I like that. So nonetheless, good luck moving into next year, Deseret Peak, and hopefully we'll have some more to be able to talk about for you guys. Now, moving into volleyball. Gonna get some more water again. Haven't done this in a while, and I goofed up the first part, so now I'm like parched, you know what I mean? All right, volleyball, Deseret Peak. Deseret Peak volleyball went 4-21 overall. They were 3-11 in region, placing them in 7th. They had 490 total kills, 160 aces, 145 total blocks, 399 assists. Your stat leaders in kills, you had number 25. Oh boy, Peyton Nifo Tamalupe. I hope that was close. I took my time with it, and I got my crayons out and everything. I really tried on that one, because that's a heck of a name. But number 25, Peyton, we'll just go with that, Peyton. a junior. She had an impressive 215 kills on the season. She was followed up closely by number 33, Olivia Stump, also a junior who had 206 kills on the season. Your leader in aces was number 33, Olivia Stump, a junior. She had 36 aces. Number 3, Amelia Cannon, a sophomore. She had 28 aces on the season, coming in second place for her team there. So good job there. In terms of blocks, you had number 5, Grayson Bybee, a junior. She had 47 total blocks on the season. Number 33, Olivia Stump again with 40 blocks on the season. So good job to those two young ladies. In assists, you had number 3, Amelia Cannon again. She had a whopping 348 assists. The next closest person was number 28, Kate Eskelson, a junior, who had 21. So good job, ladies. Good job. Deseret Peak ladies would reach the postseason play, but unfortunately they fell short to Dixie with a score of 3-0. So they did see the playoffs. So congratulations on a good first year. You know, was it everything you'd imagined? I don't know. I don't know what your goals were, but you did make postseason play, so that's positive. 4-21 overall. So good job. And you know, the cool thing about Deseret Peak is that we pretty much know that everybody we saw this year will likely be back next year because they didn't have a senior class, right? So congratulations to them, and cannot wait to see what you ladies do moving forward. Now moving on to Tooele volleyball. The Tooele Lady Buffs went 4-22 overall, 2-12 in region, placing them in 8th place. They had 199 kills, 80 aces, 32 total blocks, 131 assists. Your stat leader in kills was number 45, Abril Ruiz, a junior. She had 51 total kills. She was followed up by number 3, Apizi Male, a senior, with 26. Aces, it was also number 45, Abril Ruiz, with 15 aces, and she was tied up actually by number 44. Oh boy, here we go. Ilsa Pesci Tuipatua. I hope that was close. I really do hope that was close. I'm gonna have to take like I don't know, a language class, I guess. You know, stay in school, guys. Stay in school. Sorry, I really do try to get it right, and so I hope I didn't butcher it too bad. But number 44 with 15 aces of her own. So congratulations to those two young ladies. Blocks, you had number 45 again, Ruiz. She had 15 blocks on the season. She was followed up by number 3, Apizi Male, with 9 blocks on the season. And she was actually tied with number 14, Jessica Sharp, a senior, who had 9 blocks. So congratulations to those young ladies. In terms of assists, we've got number 14, again, Jessica Sharp, the senior. She had 56 assists for her team, and she was followed up by number 2, Presley Robbins, a junior, with 39. Now, the Tooele ladies reached the first round of the postseason play, where they would unfortunately fall to Hurricane 3-0. So, congratulations to the Tooele ladies, and apologies for messing up the names. I'll get it right probably one of these days, and yeah, maybe it matters, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. The Stansbury Stallions volleyball team. They went 10-17 overall, excuse me. They were 4-10 in region, placing them in 5th place. They had 568 kills, 146 aces, 62 total blocks, 529 assists. Your stat leaders for the Stansbury ladies were in kills were number 3, Brinley Jones, a senior. She had 169 kills on the season. Great job to you, young lady. Number 10, Caprice Tooele, hope I said that right, a freshman. She really showed her worth to her team early on in her career with 125 kills, so great job to that young lady. Aces, you had number 8, Hadley Ashcroft, a senior, with 36 aces, and she was followed up closely by number 17, Leah Winder, a senior also, who had 31 aces on the season. So good job to those two young ladies. In terms of blocks, you had Kaden Carter, a senior. She had 9 blocks on the season. And she was followed up closely by number 22, Emma Yearby, also a senior, with 8 blocks of her own. Your leader in assists was number 17, Leah Winder, a senior. She had a whopping 402 assists. She was followed, not even closely in that category, by number 1, Savannah Merritt, a senior, with 44 assists, placing her in the second spot on the leader category there. So good job to all of those stat leaders. I crack jokes, but seriously, great job, great job, and super excited to see what number 10 there does. Obviously, coming in as a freshman, a lot of promise there, but looks like a lot of seniors in the stat category there, a lot of seniors. So next woman up, right? Next woman up. Moving into next season. Now, Stansbury would also finish their season in the first round of postseason play, losing to Snow Canyon 3-0. So tough break there, but a good overall season for the Stansbury ladies, going 10-17 overall. Congratulations, and can't wait to see what you ladies do next year. Now, as for the Grantsville Cowboys girls women's volleyball team, they went 14-17 overall. Really good season for them. They were 6-4 in region, placing them in third. They had 975 kills, 334 aces, 202 blocks, and 702 assists. Now, your stat leaders in kills for the Grantsville Women's Cowboys was number 2, Allie Bree Rogers, sophomore. She had 262 kills. Great job to that young lady. Number 19, Emmy Butler, a junior. She had 179 kills. So good job to those young ladies, and looks like they'll both probably be back next year. That's good to see. Aces, your leader in aces was number 19, Emmy Butler, with 74 aces. She was followed up by number 13, Sadie Castano, also a junior. She had 58 aces on the season. So great job, and again, looks like we're going to be getting them back. That's always cool. That's always cool. Your leader in blocks was number 5, Kaylin Elton, a senior. She had 91 total blocks. She was followed up closely by number 22, Kalani Mayava, a freshman, with 83 blocks. So good job to that young lady for sure. Assists, you had number 6, Olivia Richardson, a senior, with 483 assists. And she was followed up by number 13, Sadie Castano, a junior, with 216 assists. The Grantsville ladies finished their season as well. Finished their season in a quarterfinal loss, to North St. Pete, where they would lose 3-0. So congratulations to all of our teams, seriously. Apologies for the technical difficulties I had early on in this. I really thought it was going to be cool, but didn't work out. So we were able to adjust though. So thank you for sticking around. If you did stick around, I greatly appreciate it. But seriously, congratulations to all of our teams. What a year it was, and for Deseret Peak in particular, like please keep your head up. Don't let the people beat you down. Keep grinding, keep your head up, and go out there and come back even stronger next year. That's I said it at the beginning of the season, especially for the football stuff, right? But with all the changes that went on within this county with coaching personnel, players shifting around because of the new school, all these things, and I don't think it just affected football, right? I think it's affecting a little bit of everything here and there, right? Please keep your head up. There's a lot to build there, man. And I think if anybody thought that it was going to be, some road to glory, going to go win a state championship, I felt like that's a little off, right? Unrealistic. I said it at the beginning of the season. If our teams went 500 on the season, I felt like that was going to be a win for any of our programs, just based off of all the changes. I got to admit, I did not see Stansbury football doing as well as they did the way that they did. I did not see that. I figured they would do well. I know they've got talent. I know the coaches are there, but I just assumed there would just be more conflicting issues. They did exceptionally well. And so hats off to them for sure. I said that early on, that Grantsville was, in my opinion, stood the best chance to go above 500. And I based off of their the region that they play in and all that stuff, being in 3A versus 4A. They had a really good season. I'm sure it wasn't what they were wanting on an individual level, but I do think that they did very well. And it was great to see that defense grow, especially. You saw some younger players really kind of step up, and they started playing a lot better. Even the senior players, if you look at the start of the season with Brock Hodgson, especially, right, he was doing a lot of those like Madden hit stick shoulder hits, and he really cleaned that up, man. He started making some really good really good reads, really good tackles, and that all started happening as the season progressed. So huge shout out seriously to all the teams. I get it. It didn't end up probably where you were looking, but I think you guys really did good. Really did good. So for all the seniors, I know I usually do my senior salute thing. Obviously, I'm behind on a lot of stuff. Congratulations to you. Thank you for allowing people like myself to enjoy it and get to watch you guys grow and achieve great things. And it's just been an absolute pleasure of mine. So thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I wish you guys nothing but the best. Seriously. It's been awesome. So that'll wrap up our fall recap. Now, I do want to give a little bit of a teaser here, okay? We got some big things coming up for basketball. We're going to be having a new co-host joining us. I think it's going to be a good addition. It's somebody who has actual real life application with high school sports. So it's going to be cool. It's going to be a perspective that I can't give. I think it's going to be valuable to what we do here. So definitely looking forward to that. Definitely getting things ramped up now. Been working on it all day. Can't wait to get doing it. So hope you guys enjoyed the show. Again, apologies for the early on technical difficulties, but that is also why I wanted to make sure I got on here and did this, because I hadn't done one in a while, and I assumed there was going to be things I was going to jack up, because that folks, I'm good at that kind of stuff. So anyways, hey, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you for joining me. A little bit lengthy on the live, but yeah, sorry. But I do hope you have a great day. And as always, guys, please take care of yourself. Please take care of each other. And until next time, I'll see you at the games.
Can't do it like me, no you're not like me, often imitated. This is USB. Can't do it like me, no you're not like me, never duplicated. This is USB, often imitated. USB, never duplicated. USB, often imitated. Can't do it like me, never duplicated. This is USB. Can't do it like me, no you're not like me, often imitated.